All right, so while the last couple tables are getting their food, I wanted to introduce Dean DeBrock, who has a couple things to say about the honors program.
Good evening. I won't take too much time because we have a lot of people who have much more interesting stuff to talk about than me. But I'm really happy to be here. It's such a great event. You know, look at this. When we built this building of Egypt, did we think that this was going to be, you know, this type of, I never dreamed that this would be the type of event you would see happening here. This sort of a formal sit-down dinner right here in the middle of the atrium in a place that we're comfortable with. This is our place. This is the College of Business. You know, there's lots of nice places on campus. You could do this, the Union or Ellis Campbell Alumni Hall. But it's so much better to just do it right here. This is what we know. This is where we are. So it's a great thing. But back to the real point of being here tonight, and that's to talk a bit about the honors program. I was asked just to talk about what the honors program really means to the college, and it's hard for me to describe what the honors program means to the college. The honors program is crucial in so many different ways. The simplest way to talk about it is to say just recruiting. And I'm not talking about your recruiting as honor students. I'm talking about the spillover effect of what you do to help us recruit other people, other non-honors people who come to this place simply because it's made the place much more of a destination location, the College of Business. It's really true. I'm not just telling you that. Now, you can talk, is Jewel here tonight? You can talk to Jewel about that. He'll tell you all about it. The other thing is that one of the things the honors programs has provided us is a set of students that we can rely on to help us out. There's just a lot of things that we have to do over the course of an academic year in the college. There's a lot of events we have to plan. There's a lot of times we need to show the building off. There's a lot of times where we have dignitaries in, where we need to have people to help perhaps marshal them around, those dignitaries to come and talk to. There's lots of different events like that, and guess what? We come back to the honor students to do that. The honor students are the core of students that we rely upon because A, we know you're going to do a good job, and B, you actually like to do it. At least that's what we hear on the feedback back from the students, and that's a great thing. In all, I can't really imagine, the honors program's been around, I guess, now for about 8 years. I can't really imagine what the College of Business would be like without it. It's become, even though it's not that old, it's just become part of what we are, part of what we know about our overall undergraduate population, and it's a great thing. Tonight, however, we're not here to listen to Larry talk. We have other people to talk about, and so the next person up to the podium here is somebody that everybody in this room knows very well. This guy, we all miss him dearly. Kansas is better off because he's living in Lawrence, Kansas. We're a little bit worse off because of that. But the fact of the matter is, John has been left an indelible mark on the College of Business in a lot of ways, not just the honors program. And the other great characteristic about John, as many of you know, I've said this in public too, is because John's a great baseball fan. So any guy who's a good baseball fan is a good guy to get to know. John, come on up here.
It's great to be back on campus. It is homecoming, of course, and Andy and I, this was our home for 30 years, and somebody asked me, am I a Jayhawk now? And I said, people can have multiple allegiances. You don't have to have just one. But of course, there will always be an allegiance to the College of Business at the University of Illinois and the honors program. I loved the way that tonight's program was set up because essentially it's storytelling. We had representatives of our honors program tell stories. And I'm going to tell a story that many of you know, but I think is worth repeating. And there are at least a couple people in the room who were here at this particular moment. Mike LaBelle, who you heard speak tonight, was there. Patrick Gallagher, who's sitting right over there, who was there. They were part of the original pioneer group of the class of 2008. Jake Vial is here too. He was also in that group of originals. Actually, Jake was the first student to sign the agreement to join the honors program. He brought it into my office, which was then over in David Kinley Hall, signed in. So he's number one out of everybody who's going to go through this honors program. They were there. There was another gentleman who was there on this particular day, and he's going to speak next, and have the honor of introducing him. And he was the dean of the College of Business of Ghosh, whose idea it was to have an honors program that would stress leadership and would also stress this kind of global commitment that many of you talked about in your stories. And the story that I want to tell is the story of how the now embedded into your brains phrase energy, optimism, and enthusiasm came about. I was new. The program was new. It was unlike any other honors program in the country. Dean Ghosh and I decided on it based on what we thought would work in our college and would be the best for our situation. And I invited him to come to the first class of the 28 students who were in that first class of 2008. Now, I was nervous on a number of different accounts. I was nervous because it was my first class teaching at a major, internationally recognized research university. Right? That was a little intimidating for me. I'd taught at community colleges, I had taught at a regional university, I'd taught at a prep school. This was my first time at a place like the University of Illinois to teach. I was nervous about that. I was nervous because this was a new idea, and it could have failed. It could have followed Steve Heiss's pattern. The 28 students after that first class could have voted with their feet and said, I'm dropping this class fast. And I was also nervous because my boss was there. Right? And so all these things were going through my mind, and so I'm walking down the hallway in David Kinley Hall, and I'm thinking, how am I going to get this started? I want to say some things before I introduce Dean Ghosh. And the words literally, as I'm opening the door to this really decrepit classroom where the seats were nailed to the floor, not nearly as nice as the classrooms in this building, the words energy, optimism, and enthusiasm came into my mind. And I thought, I can live up to those goals for those students, and wrote them on the chalkboard. I mean, it wasn't a nice whiteboard like we have now. It was chalkboard. I'm terrible, as you know, at writing words on any kind of board. You can hardly read them, but there they were. They were up there. And somehow those three words tended to stick. People remembered them. They kind of became a joke, right? First person that mentions them in there, I could hear the little ripple of laughter in the room. Oh God, there goes Dean Hedeman again. But I think in many ways, those three words lived up to the goal that Dean Ghosh gave to me in starting this program. And that was, the education of true professionals doesn't take place just in a classroom. It takes place in life. It takes place in that 21st century leader's idea of the globe. And what has really astounded me is we go through a pretty subjective process of picking all of you, right? Yeah, we gloss it up with a nice interview and those sorts of things, but it's pretty subjective. We're reading your applications, you're 18, 17 years old, and you're saying to us what you want to do with the rest of your life, and we have to somehow figure out, out of that group, who's got the potential to come to this great college that's been great for a long time and make it even better. And the thing that really makes me proud as I look around this room is we didn't have any misses. Every one of you, in some way, made your fellow students, made the faculty, made this institution, made the deans better. Now the hard part starts. This is the part that those with an 8 and a 9 and a 10 and an 11 and a 12 and soon to be 13s, 14s, 15s, and 16s have behind their names. The hard part comes is it's one thing to make a good college a great college, which is what we're in process of doing. It's another thing to do what you all talked about in your stories, and that is to make this world a better place, because that's the ultimate leadership challenge. And I am so proud of what each and every one of you have done to do that. This program has exceeded, I think, Dean Ghosh's expectations. It's certainly exceeded mine. And this program is now yours. You're the ones who are going to make it work. Many of you remember the day last April when it was announced that I was abandoning the ship here and going to Kansas. And I was hiding in my office, pretending I was on a conference call, so that I wouldn't have to see everybody. Actually, I was on a conference call, but the conference call ended in about 5 minutes, and I still had the phone to my ear an hour later. But before the conference call, I got a call from Paul Ripsky, the new dad, right there, and I'll never forget it. Because Paul Ripsky said, Dean Hedeman, I just wanted to call you, I wanted to wish you luck, and I wanted to tell you that we'll never let you down. We'll make sure that this program keeps the mission that it started with and that it should keep. And that's what I know all of you are going to do. And the man who gave me that mission to start and work with you, Dean Avijit Ghosh, we owe you so many thanks, and I'd like you to come up and say a few words.
I know you want to go and eat, but you can't. You just stay here, okay? Since today is a day of storytelling, I want to tell a couple stories. But first of all, let me add to what Dean DeBrock said and Dean Hedeman said. This is, I feel so good tonight, really, because we didn't know what we were starting. I remember talking to him very early on, and he said, so what kinds of students are we going to get? I said, we want people who are going to change the world, change the school, change everything. We're going to be real leaders. And I know the honor students, you see them in leadership positions all around the campus. It's not just a business council, it's not campus, different kinds of campus organizations. Everywhere you see business honor students leading those groups. And now we have sort of 2 Lincoln laureates back to back, okay? Who can beat that? Okay. But really what you do is you brought so much energy into this place and energized everybody else and set standards and goals for others to reach. I think that's just been a wonderful thing. But the story I wanted to tell was that, we came up with this notion of starting this honors program focused on leadership. John is he's a kind man. He says, attributes a lot of things to me. I only did one thing, really, which is I had met this gentleman who was the principal of my daughter's college, okay? And I was just charmed by this person because of the personal interest this person took in every student, the principal of my daughter's high school. And the interest he took in every student on an individual basis, I had seen no school teacher, no school principal ever do that. And then I heard he might have left that school and looking for something else. So all my contribution to this effort is hiring this man. And I'm going to take 100% credit for that, okay? So Dean Hedeman, what I did was hire Dean Hedeman and said, John, let's start on this venture. I don't know exactly what the contours of this is, how it's going to be, but we'll figure it out, and I'm sure the students will help us define what this program is going to be. And I think that's exactly what has happened. You have developed this program. It's your program, as he said. So thanks to you, but we will keep our eyes wide open because we know a lot more is yet to come from you. So thank you.
Stay for a second. We wanted to send Dean Hedeman home with a gift that he could display amongst his beer glasses. The award says, this award is presented to John Hedeman for his energy, optimism, and enthusiasm in developing tomorrow's leaders and truly making the College of Business a better place.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks for this. This is a great program.